Hi, I'm excited to talk with you today about what I think is the most exciting and interesting part of your application to U.S. universities, and that's the Common App Personal Statement. So the Common App Personal Statement is your chance to really tell an admissions officer who you are and what matters to you. They will see your grades, they'll see your test scores, they'll see your activities, and then this essay comes up, which is the chance that you have to really show them kind of your personality and your character. So we want to make sure that this is a piece of your application that really shines. There are a few do's and don'ts that you want to keep in mind when you're considering different topics that you can write about. So one of the most important do's is just to be very personal and specific. This is, again, your chance to tell them who you are and what matters to you. And so you want them to get a sense of your personality, of your values, and sort of the way you think and the way that you interact with others. The second is that you want to really invest in a strong introduction. So picture an admissions officer probably sitting in their pajamas, have read through 30, 40, maybe 50 applications already, and they get to your essay. What is it about your introduction that's going to pull them in and make them want to read through to the end? The introduction is really the most important aspect of the essay, because if it's strong, if it gives them a sense of anticipation, they will read your whole essay to the end. The third is you want to keep your essay organized, so it needs to follow a specific flow and it needs to have a sense of continuity leading to something, some message that's going to come at the end. Make sure that you don't just ramble or go on to lots of different topics. Fourthly, make sure that you accentuate the positive. So a lot of students have gone through difficult experiences, and those can be really valid topics for an essay. But you want to make sure, even in those, that you talk about what you've taken away from the experience and how it's helped you to grow or to learn something important about yourself. And then finally, make sure that you check your ego at the door. So nobody wants to hear a 17-year-old who is bragging or is telling them a lesson about life. You want to come across as someone who is eager to learn, eager to grow, eager to use these next 4 years in university to expand who you are. In terms of don'ts, one important don't is don't overlook the mundane. So some of my favorite essays are not about big life-changing moments. They're about simple activities or simple moments that have shaped a person. So, one of my favorite essays was about a student who talked about making pancakes for her family every Friday morning. I've had students write essays about an interaction on a bus that shaped them somehow, or about adopting a dog. They don't need to be really deep topics in order to be effective. The second thing is, if you can, stay away from talking about volunteer trips. So a lot of us have gone on school trips or personal trips that have been really impactful and have shaped us, and that's fantastic. But often talking about a one-week trip that really shaped your life can come across as sort of cliche. So if you're able to, find a different topic. Similarly, sports typically wouldn't make a very good topic just because it's really overdone. And finally, the idea of being a third culture kid should not be the centerpiece to your essay. I know that for us, we feel that has really shaped our character and who we are, the experiences of living abroad and often living in many countries. But keep in mind that the admissions officer who will be reading your essay will also be reading the essays of everybody who's applying from Dubai and probably from the entire Middle East. And so just being a third culture kid is not enough. If you want to talk about that, let's find a story that really tells us something about who you are and how you think, and that brings in that third culture perspective. Thirdly, you don't want to rehash your resume. So, I think often students see this as the moment where they're going to convince an admissions officer that they're the best applicant for this, for their school. And there are lots of places that you can do that. You'll have a chance to write about all of your activities in the activities section. You will be able to write about other things that you've done in the additional information section. Hopefully your teachers will write wonderful words about you, but this isn't a place to brag about what you've accomplished. This is really more about who you are and how you think than what you've done. You also don't want to write about somebody else, or you don't want to make that the centerpiece of your essay. You can talk about a relationship that's important to you, but it needs to be more about how that relationship has affected who you are or how you think, not just how great that other person is. And probably the most important advice is don't tell a story that would make your grandmother blush. So I have read all manner of inappropriate essays in my time at Stanford and since. And I think, just keeping in mind that the person on the other end is someone that you're trying to convince that you are mature and that you're ready for university. So talking about an illegal activity, talking about, a first-time experience, anything like that, this is just not the place to reveal that. And then the last one is really don't fall in love with your thesaurus. So as much as you're able to, just use vocabulary that you would use in your everyday life. You want to come across as articulate and bright, but you also want to come across as authentic and genuine. So make sure that you're using words that you would typically use in everyday life.